won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X-Files. Welcome to The Gen X-Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about the adventures of Buckaroo Banzai across the 8th dimension. Oh.
Wah, 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 wah.
That song
was
dissonant, and it was like an 80s synth take. This is my take. 80s synth take on the Peanuts theme.
Oh, yeah.
If you think about it.
I can see that. Yeah. It's the movie's weird enough that I believe it. I totally believe it.
It is the weirdest movie ever made. It is so good, though. I love this movie so much. It gives me such joy watching this movie. There is no other movie that's just unabashedly freaking weird, man.
Yeah, it's very weird.
And I love the fact that these scientists, neurosurgeon, brainiacs are also rock stars and kung fu dudes. I mean, it's like every,
The perfect example, they're in the nightclub, and then there's a gunshot goes off, and all of them just pull out weapons and start pointing at the audience.
Somebody's not having a good time.
What is going on?
Turn on the lights. Somebody's not having a good time.
Ellen, you know what? It's funny because Ellen Barkin in this looks like Cameron Diaz before Cameron Diaz existed.
Yeah.
A much, no offense to Cameron Diaz, a much better looking Cameron Diaz. But it was just incredible how similar she looks to Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this movie that should have been bigger stars.
Agreed.
Than they were.
Agreed.
Ellen Barkin, Lewis Smith. We'll get into it as we talk about it. But there are so many recognizable actors in unrecognizable parts.
Yes.
Case in point, Yakov Smirnoff. Just showing up is
just a slight Russian accent.
But he's acting in it.
Yeah, he's an NSA. He's the NSA director.
In Russia, bombs, people blow up bombs.
In Russia, bread eat you.
Bread eat you.
Yeah. It is really interesting that because there's a ton of amazing actors in this movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, and a lot of them went on to have pretty good careers and big careers. But yeah, it's just such a weird movie.
Well, yeah, and so weird that it was impossible to sell.
Yeah,
because nobody,
How do you explain this movie to somebody?
I'll tell you this, man. I remember seeing this movie, and this was a crazy weekend. Because I remember, one of the, I think Temple of Doom, didn't that come out?
Yeah, I think that was out the same weekend. Yeah.
And a couple of other biggies, and it just kind of got lost. But I remember I was doing theater hopping, and I hopped into this theater, and it just got me, man. Because it was just so cool. The nerds were the heroes, and intelligence was an asset. And it zagged where everybody else zigged in this action movie franchise of the 80s. Everybody was like, "Hey, I'm this big dumb guy with a gun, just shoot you." And it was refreshing to have a neuroscientist with a gun shooting
neuroscientist who's trying to phase through a mountain.
But that's what's so brilliant. The opening is him doing this incredibly complicated surgery with Jeff Goldblum. And then he's like, "Hey, you should join my team." The Hong Kong Cavaliers or whatever they're called.
Yeah, the Hong Kong Cavaliers.
And Goldblum's, oh, okay, sure, okay. And then he goes straight from the surgery to doing some speed test to go into another dimension.
Driving his jet car.
Buckaroo's late because he was doing surgery. And then after doing that, they whisk off to a club.
To play a gig.
Play their band. I don't know, man. I know probably seeing this now isn't as revelatory as it was back then, but there was nothing like this back then.
No, and that I totally understand. I have never seen this before, not until we watched it yesterday. I am very curious to talk about it because I don't... It almost falls in that same camp for me as Highlander, which, granted, Highlander is not a good movie, and this is. Yeah. But, I know that there is something that 13-year-old me would be like, yes, you know.
It's got all of it's got aliens. It's got interdimensional travel. You know,
everything I looked for when I was 13.
Shootouts, rock stars, cool 80s fashion with double belts.
Super, super weird bad guys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Well, that was the great... I mean, look. You've got John Lithgow and Vincent Schiavelli and
Dan Hedaya.
Jim Minkowski, Christopher Lloyd, who did my favorite part of the entire movie is when, hey, get yourself about it, and when Emilio Lizardo, they're about to take off, and he's just been riding his ass all movie. And then finally, he's like, hey, I'm going to get you, big booty. And it just turns to him and gives him the finger. It is the most aggressive finger swinging I have ever seen.
It was so great because he hated his boss so much. So much.
So relatable.
It was funny. Hey. All four of them are great. And man, you taking the top off of John Lithgow and being like, just run with it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
So many just weird... facials, just everything. He put all of himself into this.
The Nazi speech. Yes. It was like, what are you doing?
It was
everyone's just like, yeah, okay, we were going to do it.
I mean, he didn't initially really want to do it, but when he did it, it was a meal. He made it into a 4-course meal. And in the hands of a lesser actor, it would have been ridiculous.
Yeah.
But this, to me, is one of the greatest comic villain performances of all time. It just cements the fact that John Lithgow is one of the greatest actors.
Oh, he's so fantastic
in the history of this country.
He's so fantastic.
I mean, to this day, still. We were talking about.
He was shooting the old man, and someone brought over a mirror that has name on it.
Is this your mirror, Mr. Lithgow? Oh my God! I look fabulous.
I am so gorgeous. He's so funny.
He just seems like a ball of fun. Like he's definitely a guy I would want to have dinner with. You know, because he really gets it, man.
Yeah.
He is an incredible actor who also really seems to love the work and love the process and love being a collaborator.
He seems like he understands his fame and that he is appreciating it every day.
Yes, and he enjoys it and revels in it.
Yeah.
And that's rare, you know. There's
Well, I think a lot of the actors in this movie are that way. They all just really like working.
Goldblum.
Yeah, Peter Weller.
Weller, definitely.
Christopher Lloyd. It's just like, I just want fun stuff to do around fun people.
Clancy Brown.
Make it fun. Yeah.
And everybody had something fun to do.
Yeah.
You know, they all had they weren't just caricatures. But they all had personalities that were great. I think the most well-rounded one is Perfect Tommy.
Oh, yeah.
Because his personality, everything about him is just like, he could be a douche, but he's not.
Yeah.
He could be a dumbass, but he's not. He's just kind of Perfect Tommy.
It's just funny that he's set up as being Perfect Tommy, but he seems like the most grounded of all of them. He's just kind of like, yeah, guys, let's hang out.
Clancy Brown is rawhide, and it has a pedigree of fun and goofiness and smarts that most movies don't have. And is it 100% effective? I don't know. I mean, probably not. But to me, it was, because just the whole weird invasion thing and bringing up War of the Worlds and the way everything kind of fit together by the end, it all made sense to me.
No, it totally did. I feel like a lot of the explanation of the plot came a little late in the movie.
Sure.
But you know, we had to get in the 25 minutes of him driving the jet car at the beginning.
I still look. I would like to. I've seen the alternate opening, the one with. Because it's on the DVD that I have.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it really good.
Plays his mother.
It's weird, yeah. But I really am so sad that this didn't become a franchise. And how could it, man? I mean, there's like 8 of us that love this movie when it came out, and of course now it's become a cult hit. But it was hard for me to get my buddies. Hey, let's watch Buckaroo Banzai.
I mean, how do you? I could see how people could just write it off as just being like, this is just weird. Like, I don't want to deal with this.
Well, at the time, none of these guys were big stars.
No.
You know, Peter Weller hadn't hit RoboCop yet.
No.
And Goldblum was, just still kind of starting out.
Yeah, I mean, of all of them, he probably is the most recognizable.
Sure. I mean, Lewis Smith had a couple of roles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, but for the most part, they were mostly unknown, or little known.
Yeah. Probably John Lithgow was the most well-known because he had done Garp and he had done...
Oh, yeah. That's true. But anyway, yeah. Well, do you want to get into it?
Yeah, I'll just keep talking about it forever if we don't.
All right. Take yourself back to 1984.
Ooh, Orwellian.
July 1st, Liechtenstein becomes the last country in Europe to grant women the right to vote.
If they only held on a little longer. I don't know. Just trying to go with the times, man.
All right. July 25th, cosmonaut Svetlana Savitskaya becomes the first woman to perform a spacewalk.
Oh, if they just would have waited a little longer. I don't know.
She had to have the right to vote before she could go into space.
Well, it was a big year for women, apparently, in Europe.
It was.
And for European women. I can't believe that it took from 1984 for a country to have women voting.
Yeah, oh, no. That blows my mind. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. Although, granted, I mean, in the U.S., it was only like 60 years before where we had... Wasn't it the 20s when we gave the...
Suffragettes?
Women the right to vote? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, begrudgingly.
Oh, yeah.
And according to some people, it's the biggest mistake ever made.
Yeah. Like the ERA that still hasn't passed.
I know. What a bunch of dicks. Well, this is the most misogynistic country in the entire world.
It is.
It is. And that goes for... the Middle East, too, who hates women.
Oh, even more so. We're like arm in arm with them.
Because we pretend to not hate women.
Yeah, but we do. August 4th, the African Republic Upper Volta changes its name to Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
Which I understand that Upper Volta was not the name that they wanted for their country, but it's so much cooler than Burkina Faso.
Yeah, but Burkina Faso is the name of a really tasty fruit.
No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
No, Burkina Faso came from the languages of the two dominant ethnicities. I looked this up, Jim. The two dominant ethnicities, which I think it means son of the land between the two names.
I've had a Burkina Faso salad.
All right.
It's very sweet and tart.
August 10th, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension is released in theaters.
Wherever you go, there you are.
There you are. Wow.
Greatest line.
That is so profound. So in 1974, W.D. Richter's wife read a review of Dirty Pictures from the Prom, the debut novel from Dartmouth College graduate and writer Earl Mac Rauch, and recommended it to her husband.
Okay.
Richter, also an alumnus from Dartmouth, read the book, loved it, and wrote Mac Rauch a letter, and the two men began corresponding.
Dear Mac Rauch, stop. I loved your book. Stop. Don't stop writing. Stop.
Remember back when we had pen pals?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Prison pen pals.
Wow. Okay. Wow. When Mac Rauch told him about his interest in becoming a screenwriter, Richter offered him an open-ended invitation to visit him in Los Angeles, where he was attending the University of Southern California and working as a script analyst for Warner Brothers.
That's pretty nice from not ever meeting somebody face-to-face.
Yeah. Years passed, and Richter became a successful screenwriter. He had a start with a series of comedies, Slither in 1973, starring Peter Boyle and Sally Kellerman, directed by Howard Zeif.
Do you know what that's about?
No.
Neither do I.
It's a comedy. I don't remember.
I like the other Slither by James Gunn.
James Gunn, yeah. Yeah, well, that makes one of us.
Ooh, we're going to cover it, and you're going to watch it again, and you're going to like it this time.
Okay, we'll see. Peeper in 1975, starring Michael Caine, directed by Peter Hyams.
Yeah, he just kept running around going, I'm a peeper.
A peeper.
I'm a peeper.
I make him sound too Australian.
I'm a peeper.
I'm a peeper.
Did he just die? No, he's still alive.
Michael Caine?
Yeah.
No, he's still alive. Don't say things like that.
Still alive. Well, he's probably going to die because we talked about it.
Yeah, you're right. Also, he wrote Nickelodeon in 1976, starring Ryan O'Neal, Burt Reynolds, and Tatum O'Neal, directed by Peter Bogdanovich.
That's the movie I keep misremembering so many times as some Barbra Streisand movie or something. Finally, thank you.
Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon. I remember Burt Reynolds talking about that movie on Carson.
Yeah.
And talking about how Tatum O'Neal is just a little human being, a little adult. And it's like, well, you know what? She's going to grow up and have problems.
Yeah.
A little kid who's an adult isn't a little kid.
Richter would write the screenplay for the Invasion of the Body Snatchers remake in 1978, directed by Philip Kaufman.
Listen to our Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Please listen to our Invasion of the Body Snatchers episode, because that movie is brilliant.
Guess you got that for Christmas.
I did.
Yeah, baby.
So good. In 1979, he would have Dracula released, starring Frank Langella, directed by John Badham. Do you remember the Frank Langella?
I
Dracula?
do. I love it.
Him running around with his floppy wiener.
No, you keep mixing that up with Lolita.
Oh, you're right.
Lolita's the floppy
wiener movie.
Dracula's the super sexy Dracula movie from the 70s.
You know which movie made an impression on me?
Yeah, you seem to be obsessed with Frank Langella's floppy wiener.
We watched it in a class in college, and I remember being around 30 other people that I was like, this is odd.
Did you scream out, "It's his floppy wiener"?
I was
look
like,
at his wiener.
Oh my God, look at the floppy wiener.
Well, that's very...
I had to go into a timeout for a while.
You had timeouts in college?
Yeah, I was 13 when I went into college.
You're like Doogie Howser, but you didn't do anything special.
I did not. See where I've come. All right.
Oh, poor bastard.
Richter would be nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay in 1980 for Brubaker, but would lose to Bo Goldman for Melvin and Howard.
Both great movies.
Yeah. I need to see Melvin and Howard again. It's been a long time.
Well, we'll do it. We need to do some more... churchy movies, more good movies, more like
churchy movies,
more like
more feel good movies.
No, more critically acclaimed, less pulp and more substance. We got to do some substance next year.
All right.
I don't know.
This year? Yeah.
Yes, Happy New Year, buddy.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Mac Rauch took Richter up on his offer and moved to L.A. Richter proceeded to introduce the writer to producer-director Irwin Winkler, who gave Mac Rauch rent money for the next 6 months.
Yeah, because the other guy was like, whoa. I said you could come for a visit. You can't come and live here with me, you bastard. Go talk to this other guy. He'll give you some rent money.
What kind of energy does Earl Mac Rauch have that he convinces these giant names to be like, yeah, just give me money?
This is a time where that was possible, man.
Yeah.
This was not so far off where Steven Spielberg snuck into Universal, set up his own office, and basically created his own career.
Right.
You could dupe people because you could get on the lots. Now you can't get on to dupe. There's no
you can't do
dupe
anything anymore.
opportunities. Dupe-opportunities, as they call them.
Okay.
Listen to my podcast, Dupe-opportunities.
Over several dinners, Mac Rauch told Richter and his wife of a character named Buckaroo Banzai, about whom he was thinking of writing a screenplay.
Hey, Buckaroo Banzai.
Richter and his wife liked the idea and paid Mac Rauch $1,500 to develop and write it.
They're just throwing money at him. I'll pay you rent for 6 months. Here's some money.
I mean, granted, I kind of understand that. At least with them, they were like, if you develop this and write it, like I'll be involved in it somehow and make some money off of it.
Well,
Irwin Winkler was just like, yeah, you look nice. Why don't you just live in my house for 6 months? I don't know if Irwin Winkler's that way.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
He's Henry Winkler's brother.
Is it?
No.
Is it? I thought Irwin... Oh, no, I'm thinking of Irvin Kershner.
Yeah.
I don't know who Irwin Winkler is. I'm going to assume that it was actually Henry Winkler in disguise.
Irwin Winkler is a producer.
A mustache.
Irvin Kershner directed Empire Strikes Back.
I know. I don't... Irwin Winkler, I will have to look him up again.
I'm pretty sure he was a producer, wasn't
he? Yeah, he's a producer-director. Yeah. According to Mac Rauch, his script was inspired by...
all those out-and-out, press the accelerator to the floor, non-stop kung fu movies of the early 70s.
Nice.
Which I love, man. Kung fu theater, baby.
Oh, yeah. Richter remembers that Mac Rauch wrote several stories about this character, then he...
would get 30 or 40 pages into a script, abandon its storyline, and write a new one.
I think that might explain a lot about the movie.
Well, I get it, man. He loved this character.
Yeah.
And he had so many ideas for so many adventures, it was hard to pick which one to debut.
Mac Rauch recalled...
it's so easy to start something, and then, since you're really not as serious about it as you should be, end up writing half of it. You shove the 100 pages into a drawer and try to forget about it. Over the years, I started a dozen Buckaroo scripts, and let me do that all again.
Okay.
In a way that's more not so bad. Since you're really not as serious about it as you should be, you end up writing half of it. You shove the 100 pages in a drawer and try to forget about it. Over the years, I started a dozen Buckaroo scripts that ended that way.
Yeah. I mean, so many. Mac Rauch's original 30-page treatment was titled "Find the Jet Car," said the president, a Buckaroo Banzai thriller.
I love it. I love
that title
stuff.
is fantastic.
Yes.
Early on, one of the revisions Mac Rauch made was changing Buckaroo's surname from Bandy to Banzai.
Yeah, that was good. Bandy is not as cool as
Buckaroo
Banzai.
Bandy sounds weird.
Buckaroo Banzai is awesome.
Yeah. Mac Rauch was not happy with the name change, but Richter convinced him to keep the new name. The Hong Kong Cavaliers also appeared in these early drafts, but according to Richter,
never really went to a completed script. Mac wrote, but never wrote the end.
Another early draft was titled The Strange Case of Mr. Cigars, about a huge robot in a box of Adolf Hitler's cigars.
I love it. That's why I wish this was an effing series or something, because there's so many great ideas.
I mean, there's so many places you could go with it.
They should do an animated show of this.
They should. Mac Rauch shelved his work for a few years while he wrote New York, New York for Martin Scorsese and other unproduced screenplays.
Ugh. Not like New York, New York.
He co-wrote the New York, New York script with Mardik Martin, a longtime friend of Martin Scorsese. It was released in 1977.
Yeah, that was... Liza Minnelli was in that, right?
I believe so.
And De Niro?
I think it was De Niro, yeah.
It was a musical or something like that.
I've never seen New York, New York.
Ugh. I just remember not really digging it.
Yeah. In 1980, Richter talked with producers Frank Marshall and Neil Canton about filming one of his screenplays. Out of this meeting, Canton and Richter formed their own production company and decided that Buckaroo Banzai would be the first film.
Sweet.
Making deals happen. Under their supervision, Mac Rauch wrote a 60-page treatment titled Lepers from Saturn.
Okay. Sure.
They shopped Mac Rauch's treatment around to production executives who were their peers, proposing that Richter direct it, but no one wanted to take on such unusual subject matter by two first-time producers and a first-time director.
It's a hard sell, man.
It is a very hard sell.
You definitely need somebody who gets it.
Yeah. Canton and Richter contacted veteran producer Sidney Beckerman at MGM-UA, with whom Canton had worked before. Beckerman liked the treatment and introduced Richter and Canton to studio chief David Begelman.
Begelman showed up before in a couple of shows. I
Yes.
remember mentioning Mr. Begelman.
We definitely have dealt with Begelman before. Within 24 hours, they had a development deal with the studio.
It's Begelman, but
Begelman.
Begelman
Not
people.
Begelman. It's
We're not
Begelman.
being anti-Semitic.
No.
It's his name.
I mean, I don't know if is it pronounced Begelman or is it
So.
Begelman?
I don't know.
I
I
mean,
never
it
had
doesn't
lunch
really
with the guy.
I eat bagels with John Begelman.
He's actually he's got celiac disease, so he can't eat bagels.
Oh, wow, that's sad.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's the one regret of his life.
Wow, that he had celiac disease because he chose that?
Yeah.
He came out and said, all right, well, I guess celiac is it.
They're like, "Do you want psoriasis or celiac?" And he's like, "Celiac."
Wow, that's the choice. That's the choice I get.
I took psoriasis.
All right. It took Mac Rauch a year and a half to write the final screenplay. During this time, the lepers from the treatment became lizards and then lectroids from Planet 10.
Awesome.
I really, the whole time they kept saying Planet 10, I kept thinking they were saying something else because I was like, all these interesting names, and then it's just Planet 10.
Well, because it's a takeoff on Plan 9.
I know.
From outer space.
But it was just funny. It was just funny. Much of the film's detailed character histories were taken from Mac Rauch's unfinished Banzai scripts. The 1981 Writers Guild of America strike forced the project to languish in development for more than a year.
That's going to hurt it.
Yeah. Begelman left MGM as several of his projects had performed poorly at the box office, and in typical Hollywood fashion, this put all of his future projects, Buckaroo Banzai included, in jeopardy.
Yeah, we mentioned this before. As soon as a new studio head comes in, he wipes the slate clean of the stink of the last guy. No matter if it's good or not, this is what happened with Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
The new guy came in and was like, "I don't want anything to do with that crepe."
Yeah, yeah. Well, he didn't have anything to do with big budget. Yeah, it's just not, it just happens. You have to make your imprint.
Well, it's stupid. It's just a pissing contest. And
if it's a good project, it's a good project.
Exactly.
It makes money for the studio.
You're just throwing your wiener around.
Yeah, your big floppy wiener.
Your big floppy Langolian wiener around. Langelian wiener.
Langelian wiener.
But no, it's dumb. We've lost a lot of really good projects that way because of hubris and insecurity.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. It's nobody is more insecure than these powerful, rich, billionaire CEO guys. They're the most insecure guys in the world. And they also like getting their testicles stepped on.
Okay, all right. It's a great episode for the new year. Begelman formed Sherwood Productions and exercised a buyout option with MGM for the Banzai script. He took it to 20th Century Fox, who agreed to make it with a $12 million budget.
Nice.
Mac Rauch ended up writing 3 more drafts before they finally had shooting script.
All right. He did his work.
I feel like he will never, if they hadn't stopped him, he probably would have never stopped writing the script.
No, because it's one of those things where you love the characters so much. It's like Stephen King and Holly Gibney.
Yeah.
He discovered that character. Now he can't write anything that doesn't have Holly Gibney in it.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Which I'm fine with because I love that character.
So casting, Peter Weller was cast as Dr. Buckaroo Banzai.
Buckaroo Banzai.
When considering the role of Buckaroo Banzai, Richter wanted an actor who
could both look heroic with grease all over his face and project the kind of intelligence you would associate with a neurosurgeon and inventor.
And that's Peter Weller.
It really is.
It is.
Nobody had more piercing, beautiful eyes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
His eyes were insane. Like, I would get lost in them. That guy is really handsome. Like, it's crazy how many really handsome dudes are in this movie that just weren't bigger stars.
Yeah.
I think with Weller, though, he was pretty choosy with his parts.
Oh, yeah.
He did some, I mean, look, RoboCop, Naked Lunch. The guy's iconic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The studio wanted a recognizable film star, but Richter and Canton wanted to cast a relatively unknown actor.
Smart.
Richter looked in New York City because he assumed that an actor with experience on stage in small films
would be able to completely interact with props.
That seems like such an insulting thing to say.
That's just...
If you haven't been on stage, you don't know how to work props.
Well, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Working props.
He had been impressed by Peter Weller's performance in Shoot the Moon and met with him. Shoot the Moon was directed by Alan Parker.
Yes.
Great Alan Parker.
Yeah, listen to our Bugsy Malone.
Bugsy Malone. Oh, God,
episode.
Alan Parker. So we're talking about another weird movie.
And didn't we also do another Alan Parker? Did we do...
yeah, we did. Didn't we do Mississippi Burning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and our Comedy
Also,
Racism Month.
Very, very different movie from Bugsy Malone.
A lot funnier.
Yeah.
In some respects.
Yeah, hilarious,
Not
depending on who you are. Yeah. At first, At first, the actor was hesitant to take the role because he was unclear on the overall tone of the film. Weller said,
would it be campy? Would it be a cartoon? Or would it be the sort of wacky, realistic film that would catch people sideways and not a cartoon? Well, kind of.
Yeah, it's all those things.
Yes, that was the answer, was yes, Peter. Yes.
Do you want to look at the 14,000 drafts we have of the script?
Nope.
Yeah. Richter told Banzai's story to Weller and convinced him to do the film. Weller stated that he based his character on
Elia Kazan, Jacques Cousteau, Albert Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, and Adamant.
Wow. Throwing Adamant in some really...
Well, it was the 80s. Adamant was huge.
He was. I mean, I get it. I totally get it.
And it's mostly his fashion style.
Yeah, his
Adamant.
look. His look.
But
yeah.
Pepe Serna really had the Adamant look with the double belts.
He did. Weller has had a long career, eventually adding directing to his resume in 1995, directing some episodes of Homicide: Life on the Street.
Did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
And that's, I mean...
He's been directing ever since.
That's crazy.
Like, I had no idea. He's been doing a lot of TV. He would also direct episodes of...
Monk, Las Vegas, Hawaii Five-0, Under the Dome, The Strain, Justified, Salem, MacGyver, Mr. Mercedes, and Magnum P.I. Not the good Magnum, by the way.
No, the remake of Magnum P.I. I love the fact that he has had this pretty successful directing career.
Well, Jesus. Justified, Homicide: Life on the Street is one of the best shows ever. Justified is amazing. And Monk was great. Under the Dome was really fun.
I just love the fact that he decided in his third act that he's still acting. I mean, he's still doing stuff, but like he decided he wanted to do some directing.
And he's a TV director.
And he does good work.
It definitely does good work. I mean, it's just, look, he's a fascinating dude.
Fascinating guy, yeah. He most recently can be seen in episodes of Rabbit Hole on Paramount Plus.
Yes.
Yeah, he was in like 4 episodes with Kiefer Sutherland.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me. I kept waiting for him to say that, and Buckaroo, he never said it.
Wow, yeah. It's not like we had a time machine.
Dead or alive.
John Lithgow was cast as Dr. Emilio Lizardo, otherwise known as Lord John Horfin.
Hey, Lord John Horfin.
So weird.
Hey, the big booty. Johnny Big Booty.
Big booty. For the role of Dr. Emilio Lizardo, the studio wanted to cast an unknown actor, but Mac Rauch had written the role with John Lithgow in mind.
Okay, why did you want a name actor and then you wanted a no-name actor? What is up with you, studio?
The
studio is nothing but trouble.
Making bad decisions?
Nothing but trouble. That movie was based on studio heads.
Yeah, it was actually. Now that you say that, it makes more sense.
Now the movie's genius.
Lithgow had been nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars 2 years in a row. In 1982 for The World According to Garp, but lost to Louis Gossett Jr. for An Officer and a Gentleman.
That was a crime. And not to say that Louis Gossett Jr. wasn't brilliant in that movie, because he was. And, you know my feeling of the Oscars is bullshit. But
yeah, award shows in general.
But John Lithgow's performance in Garp, he was playing a trans woman, which was not something that a lot of people knew about.
Yeah.
Post-op trans woman, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a great character. The book is amazing. It's a decent adaptation of the book. But his performance as an ex-football player, turned trans woman, is so nuanced, and it is just a beautiful performance all around. It's one of the greatest characters ever. And if you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it. Because, again, John Lithgow can do anything.
Yeah. It's true. In 1983, he was nominated for Terms of Endearment, but lost to Jack Nicholson for the same movie.
I don't remember him in that.
It was a smaller part. I barely remember him in that.
Did he have a term? A term for endearment?
Term of endearment.
Was it baby doll? Baby cakes?
Yes.
That was his term of endearment?
Yes. Like Weller, Lithgow was not sure about the character, but Richter convinced him by
claiming what a real feast for an actor this wonderful Jekyll and Hyde character was.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, except that he only essentially plays
Jekyll,
Lizardo for like 2 minutes,
right?
And he's just the bad guy for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's like Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. He told an interviewer,
"I have had roles where I came close to going over the top. In Twilight Zone, in Nightmare on 20,000 Feet, I almost went over the top several times. But this role is completely over the top. It makes the role in Twilight Zone seem like a model of restraint. I do it in a wild red fright wig and rotten false teeth and a thick Italian accent. It's wild!"
Yeah.
It is wild. And he is just so good.
For Lizardo's accent, Lithgow spent time with an Italian tailor at MGM and recorded his voice.
Was it Mario from Super Mario Brothers?
It was apparently this guy had been at MGM for a long time, and everybody knew him, and he essentially hired him to be his voice coach.
That's
because he wanted him to be this Italian dude.
It still comes across as a bit of a a cartoony shade.
It's a very cartoony. Lithgow changed his walk to that of an
old crab because my alien metabolism is supposed to be messed up.
He added,
playing Lizardo felt like playing the madman in the cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Yeah.
What a great reference, by the way.
Oh,
Have you ever seen that?
Oh, God, yes.
God, it's an amazing film.
It's such a great movie.
It is a silent movie. If you have a chance, if you haven't seen The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, it is wackadoo, man. Such weird perspectives.
It's German Impressionism.
Yes.
It's from 1914 or 1915 or something, but
it is effed up.
You can find it on YouTube in very good high quality.
It is definitely
but definitely need to watch it. It is so good and it's so weird.
The Germs were doing such good work back, when they were doing when they were doing silent stuff.
Yeah.
They were doing such great experimental impressionistic
Metropolis.
Genius. I know.
Metropolis is Nosferatu. They're all genius.
Damn Germans.
Yeah.
If they only just stuck with film.
You just got to keep those guns in their pants.
Yes. And they're their floppy wieners.
Keep it away from their floppy wieners. In 1984, Lithgow was also in Footloose and 2010, the year we made contact. He was very busy that year.
He was. I don't remember him in 2000. This is weird. It's like I don't remember him in 2010. The only thing I remember about that movie is the only thing I remember is Roy Scheider was the star, and I think there was talking dolphins.
I don't even remember talking dolphins.
He had a dolphin living in his house that could kind of go swim in and out.
Oh, that actually, now that you say that, sounds more... Because I remember thinking oh, that's cool.
Yeah, me too.
You've got, you can swim to your bedroom.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I got a dolphin buddy. I want that.
Yeah. Lithgow can most recently be seen in the film Conclave about the cardinals in the Catholic Church and the TV show The Old Man.
Conclave doesn't seem like a movie that I would really be into, but watching the trailer for it and seeing Ray Fiennes, it does kind of.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
It's on Peacock right now. I'm curious.
I'll check it out.
Ellen Barkin was cast as Penny Pretty or Peggy Banzai.
I love that it's P-R-I-D-D-Y.
Pretty. She's not
pretty.
Not pretty. She's pretty. Barkin burst onto the Hollywood scene with Diner in 1982, the film from Barry Levinson.
Oh God, I love that movie. Every time we bring up that movie, it just sends a chill of goodness down my spine. That movie launched so many careers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it is a perfect movie. I can't wait for us to cover it because it's just such a great coming-of-age movie with so many amazing actors, her included.
Yeah. She would appear in Tender Mercies of Robert Duvall and Eddie and the Cruisers in 1983. She can most recently be seen in the TV show Poker Face and the feature film The Outlaws with Pierce Brosnan.
She's good in Poker Face. I remember, yeah.
Yeah, Poker Face was great.
She's great.
She's always good.
She's also another one that kind of, I don't know, didn't get the career maybe she should have.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just weird. Ellen Barkin seemed like she was on the trajectory to be a big star and just kind of...
Yeah.
Maybe she just took indies and decided to go into her career.
I honestly, I feel like a lot of it is Hollywood just chewing up and spitting out women and actors.
But
like
the testimony to the fact that she's a really good actor is that she was in the Ocean's movie. She came back.
Still has, she still has a career.
Because people
because
love
she's
her.
good.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, I actually did want to see The Outlaws. It looked interesting. The action movie with her and Pierce Brosnan, where the guy is, I think it's Adam Devine.
Oh, I think I saw
and
this.
he finds out that his fiance's parents are like assassins or something.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I ever watched it.
I don't know if I did. It sounds like something.
It sounded really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I did watch this, and I think it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Jeff Goldblum was cast as Dr. Sidney Zweibel, a.k.a. New Jersey.
Yes. Cowboy from New Jersey.
I love that. They're like, he's like, do you want to join my crew? All right, we need to come pick you up. And then he wears the most ridiculous costume ever.
Well, he's wearing his Buckaroo outfit.
Yes, he's I thought this was a costume party.
Well, the thing that shows that this is his personality was his luggage.
Yeah.
Because his amazing cow luggage that looked like his chaps.
Right. I mean, it was him. I mean, it was definitely, yes.
And the way he stood there just looking like a little boy getting picked up, for soccer practice or something.
So weird.
Just weird.
So weird.
He was supposed to be the audience surrogate for this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I often get up in the morning and put on my woolly chaps.
Well, he was the new guy that got to be us.
He's
this
learning
is what it's
about
like,
them.
and this is the thing.
I just love that when Banzai was like, "Do you want to join my team?" He's like, "Can I? Can I really?"
Is there an opening?
Goldblum had worked with Richter on Invasion of the Body Snatchers in 1978 and didn't want anyone else to play the part of New Jersey. Goldblum loved the script and was eager to work with the assembled cast of actors in the film. I think that was a big part of it. A big sell for everybody was like, hey, all these guys are really good. Like, come hang out with us for 3 months.
Well, yeah, and it was also collaborators. It's not like mad world where everybody's competing against each other because they're all a bunch of ego.
They have to work together to make this movie work.
Exactly. But they did pick a really eclectic group of up-and-comers and, not-so-knowners. And they came together to form this really cool group. The weirdest of the bunch we'll get into, but Billy Vera, man.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. Goldblum has had a long career and can most recently be seen as the Wizard in Wicked and the soon-to-be-released Wicked 2, which I just discovered has been named Wicked for Good.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Poopity doop. Although it's really funny that I realize as the last day I've been writing the script for the next show, so many connections between these different parts. Like Joel Grey essentially started the part that Goldblum was doing on The Wizard. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about it next week.
Well, when we do our Wicked show, Wicked month, because we're going to do the book and we're going to do the stage production and we're going to do the movie production. We're going to have to do 2 shows for each movie.
1 show for each movie.
No, 2 shows for each movie. It's a double month.
Okay, we're not doing any of it. I hate that. I hate it so much. We've talked about Goldblum a lot, so we're just kind of glossing over him a little bit. Listen to many of our past episodes.
Yes, Independence Day.
Independence Day.
Yes, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And God knows we will be covering Jeff Goldblum a lot more.
Because we love him.
Yeah, he's so good.
I love the Goobs.
He's so good. I'm sorry, the who?
The Blooms.
The Gloobs.
The Gloobs.
Christopher Lloyd was cast as John Big Booty.
It's Big Booty.
It's Big Booty. I just love that they argued about that the entire movie.
Hey, Big Booty.
It's
Big Booty.
So stupid. I love it. Lloyd was Richter's only choice for the part of Big Booty. Lloyd had just finished a 5-season run on Taxi, appearing in 84 episodes and winning 2 Emmys.
He was the best. I've mentioned this bit before, but every time I think of Christopher Lloyd in Taxi, I remember this bit. And this is the bit that I remember from the whole show more than anything else. Probably my favorite bit in the show. So Jim Ignatowski, who's played by Christopher Lloyd, has to get his hack's license. Because he's going to drive it. He lost his license. He didn't have a license or whatever. He was driving without a license. Because it's Jim Ignatowski. So he's there with Tony Danes and the other guy. What's the blonde guy from Grease?
Oh,
Connors.
No, Jimmy Connors.
Jimmy Connors.
No, it's shit. I can't think of his name.
Anyway, so they're both there. He's having a hard time, and he's like, "What does a yellow light mean?" And then he goes, "Slow down." Okay. What does? And this goes on to the point where he's like, "Slow down." What? It's just comic gold and genius. You look at him from Cuckoo's Nest to Taxi to this to Doc Brown.
The
guy is...
Dude, Christopher Lloyd is an amazing actor.
Oh, my God.
Amazing actor.
Oh, my God.
I mean, he always makes everything better. He has worked constantly. He has been in a lot of really bad movies.
Oh, Angels in the Outfield.
But he always brings it. Yeah. Always.
Still does.
Even to the point, was it the Mandalorian where he was in the Mandalorian looking like he was like 1,000 years old? But I know. But like he was still good in that.
He's always good. Like, I don't know. I mean, I love him so much. I think he's just very underrated.
Oh, yeah. Lloyd did so much funny improv in Buckaroo Banzai that he would make Lithgow laugh constantly.
It was hilarious. I'm telling you, if you watch nothing else, look up Buckaroo Banzai Flip Off.
There's a point, and I don't remember exactly when it was, but they actually kept it in, where Lithgow broke completely.
I want to watch it again.
And it's in the movie. Yeah. He was also in 2 other movies in 1984, Star Trek III, The Search for Spock.
Oh my God, playing the bad guy. The Klingon bad guy. Kirk, I'm going to get you, Kirk.
He was also in National Lampoon's Joy of Sex. If that doesn't show you the breadth of his ability, then I don't know what does.
I don't even remember that movie.
It's not a good movie. It's not a good movie.
He's been in a lot, man. I mean, that dude constantly works.
The guy has been in like 1,000 movies.
And probably 20 of them are good.
Yeah.
But he's always good.
He's always good.
He is always good, but that guy takes a paycheck.
In 1985, Lloyd would play 2 of his most iconic characters, Doc Brown in Back to the Future and Professor Plum in Clue.
Nice.
Oh, God, I love Clue so much.
Yeah, me too. Have we done Clue?
Nope. Lloyd has also had a long, prolific career and can be seen, he'll be seen most recently coming up in Nobody 2, starring Bob Odenkirk, and in Season 2 of Wednesday.
Okay, cool. I wasn't a huge fan of I'm getting kind of tired of these old guy kick-ass movies, these Liam Neeson wannabe.
Nobody was before the pandemic, and or it came out right as the pandemic was happening, and I kind of remember liking it, but it also feels like all these other kind of old normal guys suddenly becoming killers, and
it's just I feel bad for these older actors that have to work out all the time and destroy their old ass bodies to do these movies that nobody cares about.
Well, I think it was Nobody 2 that Bob Odenkirk had a stroke or something.
I think it was the first one. He had a heart attack.
Was the first one?
He died.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
It was either I think it was on the first one.
Now he was taken over by a black Lectroid.
They brought him back, which they do sometimes, but apparently he did die.
Wow.
And came back.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm pretty sure that he did.
But Christopher Lloyd has got to be in his 80s now, I think, and he's still doing stuff. I mean, he's still working like crazy.
Well, because he's just one of those guys that exists on a set. He's 86 years old.
86.
86. He still looks pretty good.
God, yeah.
You know, and he's still got it, man. I mean, that's the thing. Is
he's still got it. That's the important part.
I watched. It's so sad. I got this weird macabre fascination now with recent Bruce Willis clips of the B movies that he was in, the paycheck movies. Yeah. And I watched some clip of him in some movie with, and apparently he did a lot of movies with John Travolta and these bad
really?
movie things.
They were doing them together?
Yeah.
Hey, remember when we worked on Pulp Fiction?
And now we're in the worst movies ever.
Let's do this movie.
It's just so sad because he's just not there.
Well,
it's just him reciting lines.
No. And not,
And he just looks old.
He probably did all his work in like 4 hours and then went home. Yeah.
Just bums me out. And that's the thing. It's like that guy's in his 60s and he's done.
Yeah.
And then we got like Harrison Ford and Christopher Lloyd in their 80s doing some of the best work.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially Ford. I mean, he's doing amazing.
Yeah,
work.
it's really too bad.
Anytime I can bring up Harrison Ford, I will.
I know. Lewis Smith was cast as Perfect Tommy. He made his feature film debut in Southern Comfort, directed by Walter Hill and starring Keith Carradine, Powers Booth, Fred Ward, T.K. Carter, Franklin Seals, and Peter Coyote.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Have you seen it?
No.
I haven't seen it in 30 years, so we'll watch it together.
Okay, there you go.
It'll be like a brand new time.
Smith was asked to dye his hair blonde for Buckaroo Banzai. It took 8 hours, and he saw it go from red to orange to fluorescent yellow to white. Which he looked great. I thought he looked great.
I don't understand why Lewis Smith wasn't a bigger star.
He has got that chiseled look. Like, he could have played Superman. Like, he just is so handsome.
And also really likable.
And yeah, he's so good in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, he is the most identifiable character in this, for me at least. He was the most identifiable. And he was Perfect Tommy. And it's like, it's almost like Lewis Smith read the script and goes, wait, his name is Perfect Tommy? Like, because you immediately set up expectation of like who this guy is. And he's like, yeah, he's just a dude.
But he does. It's like when he's like, oh, how am I supposed to do that? Well, you're Perfect Tommy. And he's like,
yeah. He's right.
He realizes it.
I'll do it. I'll figure it out.
He was probably the most fleshed out of the Hong Kong Cavaliers.
Yeah.
And the most personality. I mean, they all had their own thing and their own personality, but I think he got.
But I think that was a lot of was him. I think it was him adding those little touches to his dialogue and his character.
It was very nuanced, and it just got weird roles, and I'd really like to know what happened with him because he was a guy that I had a talent crush on. I saw him in some. What is that, Heaven something?
I keep wanting to say Heaven Can Wait, and it's not right. It's like my
Heavenly Kid.
The Heavenly Kid.
The Heavenly Kid?
I think it was called The Heavenly Kid.
He like comes back to help some kid. After this movie, he kind of disappeared. I don't remember him anymore.
Yeah, he didn't really do much. He's probably best known for playing Charles Maine in the TV miniseries North and South, appearing in Book 1 and Book 2 in 85 and 86.
Well, I remember him from that.
Smith most recently played Jingle Bells Cody, the slave-fighting trainer in Django Unchained.
Great. And that's probably because Tarantino's like me. He's like, why aren't you working? Why isn't he working? Why isn't Lewis Smith a bigger star?
Sadly, that was 12 years ago. He now runs the Actors Academy, an acting school in Los Angeles.
Good. He's probably a great teacher because he's a great actor. It's just he's one of the guys that bums me out.
Yeah, I should have. There should be more movies that I can watch with him in it.
It's just he checks so many boxes. It just goes to show you what an insanely stupid business Hollywood is.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he had bad managers and bad agents, and
maybe he was a dick. Who knows?
I don't know. It's a shame because he's so good. Yeah. He's so good.
Yes, and just so handsome. He's got that cleft chin. He's just got all the things.
I really, honestly, watching this movie with him in it makes me want to watch The Heavenly Kid again.
Yes,
which is not a good movie.
Yeah, no, it's not.
But that was one of those that was on all the time when I was growing up. And that's what I remember him from.
Well, maybe it gets better with time, like some of the other stuff we've been watching.
Hopefully. I mean, I will definitely have to watch it again.
Well, I'm going to go on a Lewis Smith excavation and try to find some of his old stuff and see if I can see more.
You could see him in the 45 hours of North and South.
Yeah, I already saw it. I'm just not a big fan of Civil War stuff.
I was when I was younger. Totally grew out of it. Rosalind Cash was cast as John Emdahl.
Yeah, not to be confused with Rosalind Cash, who was married to Johnny Cash.
That's no D on the end of Rosalind Cash. Cash is best known for The Omega Man in 1971.
Listen to our Omega Man episode.
Yeah.
She was great in that. And that was like one of the first interracial kisses.
Yeah.
Between she and
Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston.
Good old Chucky Heston.
Come in and kiss me.
God. Well, you make it sound so good. That same year, she was also in Clute, which I remember had
That's Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda
It's
and
about a prostitute, and it's
the guy. I'm trying to think of the guy.
Donald Sutherland. Donald Sutherland
Yes. Okay. Yes. Donald Sutherland was in Clute
with Jane Fonda.
With Jane Fonda. That's right.
And apparently Rosalind Cash.
Yeah. Cash was nominated for an Emmy for appearing in the PBS production of Go Tell It on the Mountain in 1985.
Oh, yeah. They made us watch. They suggested. They suggested we watch that when we were in high school.
Yeah.
And I did. It was good.
The irony is that I looked to see what she was nominated for, like if it was like supporting actor or actor. There's literally no record of an Emmy nomination for Go Tell It on the Mountain. On any of the official Emmy pages,
they scrubbed it.
Now, granted, I think she did get it, but I mean, I just couldn't find the official, she lost to this person or whatever,
Right.
Yeah. Although the Emmys are weird because it could have been technically a daytime Emmy, and I looked for that, and then there's all these other new Emmy things. It's weird. They have weird categories, the Emmys. Yeah. Again, just proving how stupid award shows are. She appeared in a ton of TV shows, including
The Cosby Show, What's Happening, A Different World, Good Times, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Frank's Place, Kojak, Barney Miller, Benson, Rock, Policewoman, Family Ties, Head of the Class, The Golden Girls, and L.A. Law.
Sadly, Cash died of cancer on October 31st, 1995, at the age of 56.
God, so it just burns me. I remember I was really sad about it the last time we talked about it during Omega Man.
She would be nominated posthumously for another Emmy in 1996 for her work on General Hospital, which she had been on for a couple of years at that point.
Daytime Emmy.
Yeah, a daytime Emmy. Yes, that is correct. Robert Ito was cast as Professor Tohichi Hikita.
I love Robert Ito, and I'm about to tell you why.
Ito was a dancer with the National Ballet of Canada before coming to Broadway.
That blows my mind, by the way.
Yeah. He turned to acting in the mid-'60s. He appeared 3 times as different characters in the 1970s TV series Kung Fu.
Yep.
Which, it's like, you look Asian.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Everybody appeared as different characters in shows back then.
Ito was typecast as the quote-unquote Asian, having played Chinese, Japanese, and Korean in a variety of TV shows.
Yeah, that's got to be weird, man.
I'm glad that we're past that.
Right.
We've grown past that as a society.
But it's got to be weird. It must have been weird back then to get the parts, like the stereotypical parts, and then you're like, well, I'm an actor and I want to work.
I'm working. I'm getting paid.
But it's like, it's not fulfilling.
But it's like, this is just awful.
Yeah. It must have been a tough time.
Yeah. In 1976, he was cast as forensic lab technician Sam Fujiyama, a regular supporting role he played for 7 years on Quincy ME, appearing in 143 episodes over 7 seasons.
That's where I fell in love. I loved Quincy ME so much.
Really?
Oh, my God. Well, I was a huge Jack Klugman fan. Huge. Weird, right?
Yeah.
As a child, Jack Klugman
you were the president of the Klugster Club?
Yeah, we were the Klugsters. Woo! No, but it was because mostly from how much I loved Odd Couple.
Right.
But then from there, I saw him in 2 Minute Warning and then Twilight Zone, and then he would pop up and everything, and he just had this way of talking, just saying about those really great, really interesting. But Quincy was just, I don't know why I love that show so much. It's weird. It was about a forensic pathologist who solves crimes.
You're 8 years old. I got to put on my lab coat.
Exactly. My little glasses and my clipboard. Oh, what disease are we going after today? Huh? What are we going after today, Quincy?
Something wrong with that boy.
But I just loved Sam because he was just, Sam. And Sam was just the level-headed, hard-working buddy, best friend.
Yeah.
It was just really cool. And he was so good at it. And when I saw him in this movie, I was like, Jesus Christ, Robert Ito is so old.
Yeah, funny. He had worked on Peeper in 1976 and was so determined to get the role of Dr. Hikita that he disguised himself as an old man, designing his own makeup to age himself 30 years.
Well, it worked.
I don't even know why the character had to be that old.
Well, because he was friends with his dad.
That's right. And he was working with
Lizardo
before it became Horfin.
Right.
Yeah. But it's still, though, I would have bought the fact if he had looked 40. Sure, why not?
But he looked young. Well, he looked young in the flashbacks.
Yeah, he did. You're right. Ito started doing voiceover in 1986, appearing in 27 episodes of Rambo, The Voice of Freedom.
Yeah, he played Rambo. He did a really good job. He was slow.
Rambo.
He didn't?
No, he played the Asian Rambo.
Oh, okay. Well, is that Danbo?
Dan Danbo? Yeah. His list of voiceover credits is enormous, and I'm not going to have you go through all of them.
Nah, bummer.
He was last heard in Mader's Tall Tales for Disney in 2008. He retired, but he is now living the happy life at the age of 93.
Nice. Okay, awesome. I'm so glad he's alive.
He's just hanging out, enjoying his retirement. Pepe Serna was cast as Reno, Nevada. His first big break came in the 1970 film The Student Nurses, which Corman directed. Over the years, Serna has appeared in over 100 films. In The Jerk, he appeared as a lowrider driving criminal who cons a naive Steve Martin out of money and new tires.
Yes.
Another notable role was in Scarface, directed by Brian De Palma, as Tony Montana's friend Angel Fernandez.
Yeah, isn't he the one that gets chainsawed?
You know what? I've never seen Scarface.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're going to do it.
So I'm going to say yes.
Very good movie.
No.
But it is an iconic movie, and it's a fun movie, but it is a ridiculous movie.
Serna can most recently be seen in Flamin' Hot, the feature film directing debut of Eva Longoria, about the guy who the janitor that supposedly created the Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
All right.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
I think he plays the guy's dad or something. So there were a ton of supporting actors in the film, and some of these I realize are not supporting actors, but we've covered them a lot. So Ronald Lacey was cast as President Widmark. Lacey is best known for playing SD agent Sturmbannführer Arnold Ernst Todt in Raiders of the Lost Ark, the German who tries to pick up the burning amulet and then gets his face melted later by the Ark.
I could not believe that.
I literally knew it was him, and while we watched the movie, did not realize it was him.
When I first read this, I'm like, oh yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark. He was the guy that was like, top man.
Yeah.
Top man. And it was like, no, he's not. He was the German.
He was so good in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Got his face melted. Amazing. One of the best Nazi villains ever.
And the weirdest presidential display ever in this movie.
Oh my God.
He has a back problem and he's just lined up in this weird hamster wheel.
The president is in this. They used to have these contraptions, these back stretching contraptions where they would lock you in and they would manipulate your body to get the blood. It was just all BS, weird stuff. Yeah. But I just love the fact that they completely emasculated the president.
Yeah.
Completely emasculated
He's just some poor guy who's like...
And he's also, he doesn't play dumb, but he's just kind of, he's a very good generic president. Yeah. Again, I want to see more stuff with Ronald Lacey because I only remember him from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I had no idea that was him.
Yeah, I need to find other stuff he's in because just these two movies, incredible depth of acting ability.
Yes. What an unsung hero this guy is.
Clancy Brown was cast as Rawhide. He's been in a ton of stuff. We've talked about Clancy Brown before, including in Highlander, where he was the only interesting thing in the entire movie.
It's not totally incorrect. Oh, God, I love Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown is so good. I love him to death.
Carnival.
The
HBO show. He's amazing.
Shawshank Redemption.
He
was so good.
The guy is in that video game, Detroit Beyond Human.
Oh, yeah. He's amazing. He's so good in that.
Clancy Brown is one of my absolute favorite character actors of all time.
Huge talent crush.
Me too. From the beginning, when I first saw him in Highlander, to Buckaroo Banzai, all the way up to now, he was in Star Wars. He's one of the only guys, too, that got to play the same character he played in the Clone Wars cartoon, live action.
Right.
They brought him in live action because he's so goddamn good.
He's so good.
I love Clancy. I could talk about Rawhide, Clancy Brown. This was his name in the movie. It's not his nickname in real life. But I could talk about Clancy Brown all day. And if you haven't seen Carnival, that's a really cool little series.
It's a great series. It's unfortunate that it did not get an ending.
Yes.
Yeah. But he was really good in it.
He's great in everything.
William Traylor was cast as General Catbird. Traylor is best remembered for playing Mr. Underhill in Fletch.
Yes!
Yeah, that's his he's so good in that movie.
Oh my God.
He's so good in that movie.
As soon as you said that, the entire performance flooded into me, and I loved it.
Traylor appeared in a Noel Coward play in 1957 and apparently had a passionate affair with Coward that led to an attempted suicide from Traylor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was bad.
That is...
He was hardcore into Noel Coward.
Jeez.
In more ways than one.
Oh, that's delicious gossip, Adam.
Yeah, he tried to kill himself.
That's awful.
4 years later...
Well, he was probably pretty young.
Yeah. 4 years later, he met Peggy Fury, and they married soon after. They would start an acting studio called the Loft Studio and taught acting to Nicolas Cage, Angelica Houston, Sean Penn, and many, many others. Sadly, Peggy died on November 20th, 1985, in a head-on collision in West Los Angeles.
Strangely enough, with Noel Coward.
No. Awful. His final film was Dead Bang, directed by John Frankenheimer, starring Don Johnson. We've talked about Dead Bang before.
Yeah.
It was not a good movie.
No, but Don Johnson's awesome.
On September 23rd, 1989, just 14 days before his 59th birthday, Traylor suddenly died from a heart attack at his home.
Damn. God, he was... Yeah. He looked a lot older than
he did.
In his 50s.
Yeah.
But if you look at the young picture of him, man, he was a handsome man.
Yeah.
No wonder Noel Coward got a little hankering for some William Traylor.
Noel Coward, if you look at pictures of Noel Coward at that time, he was not an attractive man.
Well, people are attracted to talent.
They're attracted to intelligence, and Noel Coward definitely was that.
Yeah. It was very funny.
Yeah. Carl Lumbly was cast as John Parker. Lumbly is known for his role as television's first black superhero in Mantis in 1994.
John Parker.
Dick Halloran in Dr. Sleep, which I didn't realize that was him.
Neither did I.
Yeah. NYPD detective Marcus Petrie on the CBS police drama Cagney and Lacey.
Okay, I remember him.
And as CIA agent Marcus Dixon on the ABC espionage drama series Alias.
Not Alas.
No, not Alas.
Call back to another ship.
He also has done a ton of voiceover work, especially in the DC animated universe. He plays Martian Manhunter in a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, he does a great job, too.
Lumbly will next be seen in The Life of Chuck, the Stephen King adaptation from Mike Flanagan.
Oh, cool.
Which I didn't even realize was being made.
Yeah.
And is coming out sometime in 2025.
Yeah, there's some cool King adaptations coming.
Yeah.
That one, The Monkey, directed by the Longlegs.
Osgood Perkins.
Yes, Osgood Perkins.
Oh, yeah. But Carl Lumbly will also be seen as in Captain America Brave New World, reprising his role of Isaiah Bradley, the first black super soldier, who also appeared in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
This is kind of my first... exposure to Lumbly, I think, because Cagney and Lacey came after,
it was around the same time, maybe a little bit after. Yeah,
but another great character actor that whenever he showed up, it was a joy.
Oh yeah,
It still is.
He's so good in this movie,
and very likable. And he's one of those guys that can do super serious and comedy, and people don't realize how funny he can be.
Oh yeah,
and it's always a treat to see him doing something goofy or funny.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited. He's Isaiah Bradley. He was great. He was one of the best things about Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see him in that movie.
One of the most interesting things. Yeah.
Vincent Schiavelli was cast as John O'Connor. Schiavelli is described as in
instantly recognizable sad-faced actor.
Yeah, it's because he was diagnosed with Marfan syndrome in childhood.
Jesus.
This did not stop Schiavelli from having a prolific career appearing in
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Amadeus, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Ghost, Batman Returns, Tomorrow Never Dies, The Man in the Moon, and The People versus Larry Flint.
Vincent Schiavelli is a huge talent crush. He's one of my favorite character actors.
He was amazing. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, he's absolutely hilarious.
He's so good.
It's the teacher.
He's so good.
He was married to Alice Beasley, who was Agnes DePesto on Moonlighting.
Yeah, the secretary on Moonlighting.
And they had an episode where he kind of played her love interest, but then I think tried to kill her.
Oh, wow. Wow.
But they got to act together
on
the show, and it was really great to see them together. They were such a cool couple.
Yeah, they got married. They were married for a long time.
Yeah, I love Alice Beasley. Unfortunately, I haven't seen her in anything.
No. One of my favorite performances from Vincent Schiavelli was as the bad guy one of the bad guys in Heat, Vision, and Jack, the failed TV pilot from Ben Stiller with Jack Black and Owen Wilson, where he was a fry cook that gets electrocuted and then can shoot electricity out of his hands.
Amazing.
He was so good.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, it's an amazing performance, too.
Everything he's in, he makes better. He's so good.
Yeah, he's just a great character actor with an amazing look.
Sadly, Schiavelli died of lung cancer on December 26, 2005, at the age of 57.
God damn, all these people in their 50s, man.
57! Dan Hedaya was cast as John Gomez.
John Gomez!
One of the other red aliens, I guess.
From Planet 10.
Red Lectroids. Hedaya is a character actor that has appeared in hundreds of projects. The Hunger in 1983, Blood Simple in 84, Running Scared in 1986, and as Nick Tortelli on Cheers.
Listen to our Running Scared episode. We talk more about him. He was the chief, or the...
Police chief.
Chief.
I believe it's the police chief, yeah.
He always yelled. He always yelled.
Yeah.
He was like
Love Dan Hedaya.
Oh, man, he was so good as Nick Tortelli.
Oh, my God.
So good that he ended up getting his own series from it.
It lasted maybe 5 episodes.
Not a good series. No. But his wife was played by Casey Kasem's wife.
And I
Jane
want to say
Kasem. The Tortellinis.
The Tortellinis, yeah.
That's what I always thought about with the
Tortellinis. It's
Tortellinis.
unfortunate. The character was really good on Cheers. Could not carry a show.
He was too abrasive.
Yeah.
He was too abrasive.
It was too much for 22 minutes. Yeah. It was like, you need to pop in, pop out. Yeah. Marie Claire Costello was cast as Senator Margaret Cunningham. Costello's most notable role was that of Rosemary Hunter Fordwick on the television series The Waltons from 1972 to 1977.
Right.
After retiring from acting in 2002, she started teaching at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles.
Nice. Is she still teaching?
Still teaching there.
Nice.
Bill Henderson was cast as Casper Lindley, the helicopter pilot. Henderson appeared in dozens of movies and TV, most notably playing the cop in Clue.
Oh, okay.
He's got the voice. As soon as you hear his voice,
he does.
Yeah. Along with acting, Bill Henderson was a jazz performer, releasing 21 albums.
Yeah, I think I have a couple of his albums.
I had no idea.
Yeah. No, he was one talented cat that.
Oh God, he was so good, and he's so good. He's so natural and just so charming,
likable. Yeah,
yeah, so likable.
You love him the moment you see him. He and his kid are amazing in this.
What is his kid's? I didn't write the kid.
I think it was Damon Hines.
Damon Hines
plays Scooter.
I just love that he carries around a giant gun.
They're like, okay, they bring the kid, give him a gun,
I love the fact that they were like, we're on the way to do it, and then they cut, and it's like he's just sitting there in the bus, and I was like, oh, they brought the kid along.
Gave him a big gun, and the kid saves the day. He's the one that gets the
capacitor, overdrive, overcharger,
overthruster. The overthruster back from the Secretary of Defense,
yes.
Matt Clark.
Billy Vera was cast as Pinky Carruthers. Vera has been a singer and songwriter since the 1960s, his most successful record being At This Moment, a U.S. #1 hit in 1987 with his band Billy Vera and the Beaters.
Look, man, nobody looks less like an actor or a rock star than Billy. He looks like an accountant.
He does.
He looks like the guy that, comes and gives you an estimate for the pool you're putting in.
Yeah.
He does not look like either, but hey, Billy Vera and the Beaters were huge for a while.
I listened to the song because I did not recognize it at all, and it's like a ballad, but it's a very 80s ballad.
They were also, I believe, in Blind Date. I think they.
Oh, really?
They had a part in that.
Okay.
They was like in a club and they were singing in there, but he would show up and stuff, usually as himself.
Yeah.
Playing with the Beaters, but this was because I remember looking at him and being like, God, the guy is so familiar looking. But it's just so weird.
He just does not look like he fits into any category.
No, not at all. And he was a rock star and an actor.
Yeah, it's super weird.
I hate him.
He also wrote the theme songs for the TV shows Empty Nest and The King of Queens.
Okay, well, good for him.
It's just weird. Some more weird stuff.
Billy Vera and the Weirders.
Laura Harrington was cast as Mrs. Eunice Johnson. Harrington is perhaps best known for her role as the main character's sister in the 1983 film What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Yakov Smirnoff was the national security advisor. He's a Russian stand-up who made waves in the 80s by comparing the USSR and the USA.
In America, you eat grapes. In Russia, grapes eat you. What?
Yeah,
what are you talking about, Yakov?
Pretty much his entire... He would made millions of dollars telling jokes
Russia,
like that.
You wait in line for milk. Yeah,
he made people realize how much better the USA was than the USSR. He was just a giant propaganda machine.
He was a Russian agent. He was an American agent.
Yeah.
He was an asset. But he did some decent acting. He was also... I think he acted in Moscow on the Hudson.
Yeah.
With... Robin Williams playing the Russian defector.
Yeah, he's an actor, obviously. Like, he's done some other stuff.
He was good in this.
Yeah.
I did not recognize him, and he was actually acting. It's like Yakov Smirnoff, instead of being a Borscht Belt one-note comedian, could have actually been a decent actor.
Good career.
Although he does still perform.
The stand-up Borscht Belt stuff took off, and that was it.
Dude, he's got a standing... he has... I don't know if he still does, but he had a residency at Branson.
Oh, really?
For a long time.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Like, we still hate the Ruskies.
Yeah. Well, they did.
Well, you grew up hating the Ruskies.
Jonathan Banks was cast as a Lizardo hospital guard.
So good.
Banks,
gonna have to take your TV, Lizardo. You're using too much power.
So good. He would go on to play Mike Ehrmantraut in TV shows Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
It's just so funny that as the young, skinny, weird-looking dude, he always played a scumbag.
Yeah.
And he always played kind of a weasel. But when he got older, he was like the toughest human being around.
Yeah. It was like, you do not F with him.
What a great career, though. What a
fantastic career.
To be able to move from being a weasel lackey to one of the greatest television characters of all time on Breaking Bad. I just love that. And he's still working. He was amazing on Community.
Yeah. He's so good.
Love him. I just want to mention a couple of quick guys that are in this that, are show favorites. In a teeny tiny blink and you miss it part was John Ashton. Mm-hmm. Who was Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah, he was.
Not Bogomil.
But no, it's
Taggart.
And
he was.
He plays like a sheriff or something. In this.
For 2 seconds, you see him, and then aforementioned Matt Clark, who plays the Secretary of Defense. Mm-hmm. You've seen him in a ton of stuff, mostly old westerns.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just a couple of those just a couple of people I thought, and then she's not in it. Unless you get the DVD special edition, but Jamie Lee Curtis pops up.
Yeah. By the time of filming, Richter had compiled a 300-page book called The Essential Buckaroo that consisted of notes and every incomplete script Mac Rauch ever wrote over the years.
Love to read that.
It would be interesting. These included various references to a villain named Hanoi Zan, leader of the World Crime League. David Begelman, who initially secured funding for the film, was adamant that Across the Eighth Dimension would be the one and only Buckaroo movie and that all references to Zan be removed.
The more I hear about Begelman, the more I dislike him.
He's not a good person. This included the removal of the original opening, which showed Buckaroo's father being killed by Zan and featuring Jamie Lee Curtis as Buckaroo's mother.
It's a bummer.
Yeah. David Begelman became
our enemy for the entire movie.
Yeah. Begelman continually interfered with production through the initial stages of shooting, demanding changes and sending notes.
I got to put a stink on it. All these insecure, non-creatives got to put their stink on it. And I guarantee you, anything that you don't like about this movie was Begelman.
It's a lot of the thinking that you can do better than the writer and director who you hired to make the movie.
Right. And you're stymieing their vision. It doesn't matter if there is a sequel or not. You're building a world. You're building a lore. This is one issue of the Buckaroo Banzai comic books of 1,000 different issues. Acknowledging that there were different stories and different stories to tell doesn't make you have to have a sequel, Begelman.
I know. I agree. Just fleshes out the universe. Ugh. But, cinematographer Jordan Cronenweth was initially hired as the film's director of photography.
He is amazing.
Cronenweth was known for his rich colors and textures, having shot Blade Runner and Altered States, which was the look that Richter wanted for Buckaroo Banzai.
Which is the perfect look, a cyberpunk kind of look.
Yeah. Begelman disagreed, and a few weeks into filming, fired Cronenweth, hiring Fred J. Conenkamp. I initially thought that Cronenkamp was just going to be like a lackey or whatever.
Yeah.
But he worked in television and feature films from the 60s, earning 2 Primetime Emmy Awards for his work on The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He was also nominated for an Oscar for Patton in 1970 and Islands in the Stream in 1977, and won the Oscar for The Towering Inferno.
Really?
Yeah. Cinematography. He won for cinematography, The Towering Inferno.
Oh,
he's nominated 3 times and won once.
Yeah, he's good.
Like, he's not,
No, but he's old school, man.
Yeah, he just wasn't what the director wanted.
No, James Cronenweth was like new school. Yeah. He was like doing new, different stuff. Yeah. What Begelman wanted was, we need the old guy that knows how to shoot TV and make everything look bright and big.
Right. The new cinematographer shot the film in a campy, flat visual style, which no one but Begelman wanted. Several scenes shot by Cronenweth, including the iconic nightclub scene, are included in the final cut, though Cronenweth goes uncredited.
Yeah, that's a shame.
By the end of filming, Begelman's demands had disappeared.
He got bored.
Of course he did. The crew became convinced that Begelman had checked out, and to test their theory, added a now famous scene in which the presence of a watermelon becomes a topic for a short discussion.
I love that scene. It's Pepe Serna, right? And Goldblum.
Goldblum, yeah.
And they're walking by, and there's just a watermelon sitting in the room. And he's like, what is the watermelon for? I'll tell you later.
But
it's so great. I mean, it's so goofy, but it also
works.
It like you said yesterday, it puts forth so many more questions than it answers.
Yeah, it's not. That's the great. I mean, that's what the movie. To me, the movie needed more of that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, this leads off to something else. Like, what in the hell are they working on?
I mean, there is a bit of that in there. There's a lot of like throwaway lines and goofy stuff.
When the scene was allowed into the movie without comment, they concluded that management was indeed ignoring them, and they had free reign to put in whatever they wanted.
Nice.
It's a great way to test the executives. Begelman eventually made one more major change after seeing that the movie ended with a kiss and demanded something more. By this time, the budget was almost completely spent and post-production nearly complete. Richter decided to have the end credits appear over a new scene that was shot in the style of a music video, hiring a choreographer to arrange the action over new music by Michael Boddicker. Which, by the way, the fact that they hired a choreographer to do that blows my mind.
Well, it's weird because they're kind of marching, they're kind of not. The kid's doing a lot of stuff.
They do close-ups of the feet and they do some dancing, but that's it. Like, there's no, otherwise they're just kind of marching forward.
But honestly, it works as the ending for the movie because it is so weird. And it is unconventional, and it needed something a little more unconventional than just a kiss.
The song was not ready in time, so the crew filmed it while playing Billy Joel's Uptown Girl. So that gives you an idea.
You've been living in your wet, pretty world.
Richter described the scene as having
kind of emerged from the end of the post-production.
The scene was shot with the actors walking in the LA riverbed in front of the Sepulveda Dam. The scene, called
Gleefully Bizarre,
opens with the only remaining reference to the Hanoi Zan storyline when it mentions a never-produced sequel called
Buckaroo Banzai Against the World Crime League.
Yeah, which obviously didn't happen.
So sad.
Also, I do want to point out, I didn't write this down, but it did seem, I really wonder if Paul Rubens, for Pee-wee's Playhouse, because Peter Weller looked exactly like what Pee Wee Herman wears in that the end credit scene.
Really?
The gray suit and the tie. I think the bow tie was not red.
Oh.
But then also, Jeff Goldblum, as the cowboy, looks exactly like Lawrence Fishburne, how he dressed in Pee-wee's Playhouse. Like, it makes me wonder if Paul Rubens was just heavily influenced by this movie.
Or maybe they just went into the costume department and found the same costume.
That's very possible.
He and Weller are kind of slight. They look about the same size.
I could totally see him. I know he doesn't do it at the end of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but I could totally see Peter Weller being Pee Wee Herman at the end of Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Paging Mr. Herman.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought that was really funny. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't even notice.
Fox hired a team of publicists to promote the film at Star Trek conventions with a few film clips and free bonsai headbands.
Nice.
Which have since become highly sought-after collector's items by fans of the film.
Yeah, I bet.
The studio made no attempts to sell the film to a mainstream audience with traditional promotion, although there were some magazine advertisements primarily in Marvel Comics and related licensing which served as viral advertising in limited venues.
Yeah, I mean, I got the comics. I had the...
Yeah.
The build-up, It's like they were marketing to me, and it was dumb of them not to try to mainstream this thing.
Studio publicist Rosemary Lawson Salamandra said,
"Nobody knew what to do with Buckaroo Banzai. There is no simple way to tell anyone what it was about. I'm not sure anybody knew."
Lithgow kind of agreed, saying,
"I've tried to explain the storyline to people, and it takes about an hour. I mean, it's that complicated, but it's terrific. Every time I tell people about it, I get so excited that I end up by saying, 'Buckaroo Banzai, remember where you heard it first?'"
Yeah.
I want to be with that man. Not in a, physical way, but just
not
in his
a
presence.
Langella floppy wiener kind of way?
Not in a floppy wiener way.
Or in a Noel Coward kind of way?
No, that seems like the same thing.
Call back. Buckaroo Banzai was originally scheduled to be released on June 8th, 1984, but was pushed back to August 10th. It opened on 236 screens and faced stiff competition against the likes of Star Trek III, The Search for Spock, which also featured Christopher Lloyd, Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, and Ghostbusters.
Jesus, man.
Tough weekend.
Well, yeah, because Ghostbusters and Indiana Jones are both direct competition. Because, it's sci-fi and action.
Exactly. It made $620,279 on its opening weekend before finally grossing $6.2 million in North America, earning back less than half of its production cost against a $17 million budget.
It's such a shame.
Yeah. Although reportedly
dismissed by many critics as strange and unintelligible.
At the time of its release, the film received positive reviews. Bill Cosford of the Miami Herald praised it as
an unusual film. The comedy springs from the odd combination of self-effacement and self-absorption. It is basically a comic strip, relentlessly hip, an adventure in the Buck Rogers mold.
Yeah. The New Yorker film critic Pauline Kael wrote,
I didn't find it hard to accept the uninflected deadpan tone and to enjoy Buckaroo Banzai for its inventiveness and the gags that bounce off other adventure movies, other comedies. The picture's sense of fun carried me along.
It's amazing because Pauline Kael usually hates everything.
I know. I'm usually in disagreement with her, but she and I are copacetic.
Yeah. Buckaroo Banzai has since attracted a loyal cult following and has been popular on home video.
Home video was a blessing to so many little movies.
Yeah. Buckaroo Banzai was first released for home video for home media on Laserdisc, VHS, and Betamax in 1985 by Vestron Video. Richter said,
it was kind of the most dramatic reactions of anything I've worked on. Some loathe it, and others are willing to die for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's willing to die for it, but people love it.
The film was novelized by creator Earl Mac Rauch in 1984. The book was titled Buckaroo Banzai, published by Pocket Books, and released in conjunction with the film.
Oh.
It was reprinted in 2002 to coincide with the release of the film on DVD, which I believe is the DVD that you have.
Yeah.
In the foreword, Mac Rauch mentions that the Buckaroo Banzai series would be continued in a series of novels.
Awesome. I love it.
Unfortunately, the property rights for Buckaroo Banzai were so intensely complicated that it wasn't until November of 2021 when a second book would be released.
Was it written by Rauch?
The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Against the World Crime League et al., A Compendium of Evils, was also authored by Earl Mac Rauch.
I gotta get that.
Yeah, you should. And it has the longest effing title ever.
I love it. They need to make this into an animated series.
They do. They really do. In late 1998, the Fox Network announced development of a Buckaroo Banzai TV series titled Buckaroo Banzai Ancient Secrets and New Mysteries, but it was never released.
Bummer.
The special edition DVD contains a short computer animated sequence by Foundation Imaging made as a test reel for the series.
Was it going to be animated?
No. It was just the opening sequence. It was going to be computer animated. The clip depicts a space shuttle trying to land with broken landing gear. Dr. Banzai maneuvers his jet car under the shuttle and uses it to take the place of the broken gear.
Love it.
Because he's got to get that jet car.
I gotta get the car there.
Find the jet car, said the president.
I got my jet car.
In May 2016, Kevin Smith announced he would be adapting the film for television through MGM Television. Amazon Studios indicated a deal was being negotiated to produce the series. However, by November of that year, during a Facebook live stream, Smith revealed that he would be walking away from the project after MGM filed a lawsuit against the original creators.
Okay, well, at least
this was still back when it was in the weeds and trying
Right.
to figure out who was doing what.
Well, at least Smith has the integrity to not screw over the creators.
No. But it was one of those legal things where it just went on forever.
Ugh.
And it sucks because the guy who literally created the property couldn't even write books about it because he had sold the rights to a studio.
Studios are the enemies of art.
I agree.
Studio heads. I always say art and commerce are strange bedfellows.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because of that, really fun, quirky little movies like this get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
You know, this movie could have been Ghostbusters
Yeah.
if they got to do it the way they really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And if they promoted it the right way, and it could have been a great franchise.
Agreed.
For
Agreed.
MGM? Was it MGM? Whoever.
Yeah,
It would have been a great franchise. And one that we would have all loved, and they would have been doing reboots and remakes and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But because of short-sightedness and a hubristic begelman,
Yeah.
we didn't get exactly what we wanted. But I tell you, man, to me, it is a great movie. It is a perfect movie. I love it. I sing it again. It's just one of those pure joy movies for me.
It's so weird. It's so weird, but in the best way.
Yes. It is a perfect stoner movie.
Yeah.
If you like weed, or if you occasionally take part in weed, this is the movie for you, baby, if you haven't seen it. And it's a perfect double feature with Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
Or something of that ilk, something quirky
Quirky also
and weird.
kind of weird and fun.
Yeah, it's sci-fi. It's unlike anything that you've probably ever seen before.
Yeah.
And you can see the influence that this movie had on Kevin Smith.
Oh, yeah.
On,
Yeah.
on just about every comedic director or sci-fi director, you can see that the influence of this movie is there.
Yeah.
There's just so much with the comedy and the deadpan and the absolutely crazy performance by John Lithgow. And all the little things that are happening in the background and all the little tidbits and Easter eggs.
The red aliens who like just kind of hang out in this weird post-apocalyptic warehouse.
Yeah, just playing cards.
Just hanging out and
weird stuff.
Like, there's a car on fire or whatever.
Yeah, it is unlike any movie you'll ever see. That's for sure.
That is 100%. That needs to be the tagline. Unlike any other movie you will ever see.
With some of your favorite actors doing some great work. I'm glad you didn't hate it.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm not going to say that I love it as much as you do.
Well, I mean, I get that. Look,
but I've only seen it once.
Yeah, and it's also, it came out at a time where there really was nothing like this.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so original and unique and so nerd positive.
Yeah.
And it took all of these. I mean, maybe a perfect Tommy, but everybody else was just kind of a dude or a person.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't like action heroes. They weren't these crazy whatever. They were really smart scientists and doctors, and they used their brains.
But I think Perfect Tommy wasn't perfect, but I think they called him Perfect Tommy because he needed to get rid of the self-doubt that he had.
Sure.
I think that's why he was called Perfect Tommy.
Or he was just perfect.
I don't know. He's a fascinating character.
They're all fascinating characters.
Yeah, they really are. They really are.
And everybody in it gets something. They get some meaty piece. The introduction to Ellen Barkin's character it's amazing.
So weird.
Right in the middle of it. Wait, stop the music. Somebody's not having a good time. And then they put the spotlight
Can we get
on
a spotlight and a microphone over for her?
Can we get over there? And it's like,
yeah.
And the fact that she draws a gun and is going to shoot herself in the head.
Going to shoot herself.
And then somebody
she shoots in the air by accident.
It's
so weird.
It is. And the fact that she is the unknown adopted twin sister of his dead wife.
Is she dead?
Yeah.
Because he just says she's not here anymore.
She's dead.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. She's dead. And because he's like, how is she back? Because if she wasn't dead, then it wouldn't have been
he seemed cagey about her being dead.
It was a sore subject for him.
I would like to think in the next movie that Ellen Barkin would play both twins and that she would come back.
And a triplet.
And the
two twins and a triplet. Yeah. But seriously, I could go on about this film all day. I've been I have not seen it for a while. It's been probably since I bought that DVD. Which is 20 years ago.
20 years ago, yeah.
But it's one of my favorite movies, and I've been wanting to watch it and then not because I knew we were going to do it for the show.
Yeah. Oh, I remember a few months ago you being like, Adam, we have to cover this. I need to watch it again.
And it didn't disappoint, man. For me, it's one of my favorite movies from a kid because it spoke to me in a way that other movies didn't.
Yeah.
Not that they're better or worse, but just the smart. I've always loved the smart action hero.
Right.
The guy whose brains are more than his brawn.
Yeah.
He can still fight and do his thing, but it's his brain, his noggin that he uses most of the time. I like Rambo and all that crap too, but that's just mindless killing. After the first one, First Blood's an amazing movie. But it's the subsequent Rambo movie. He's a dumb guy who's going to shoot a lot of people.
It's the realm of Commando and
lots of guns and body counts.
We just got to kill as many people as we can.
And then just one line, freeze, whatever. But this had a brain, and it had a world, and it had. You could tell how much Rauch loved these characters and loved this story for the fact that he wrote it 300 times, and it's still, I just would love to go back in time, remove Begelman from the picture and see what happens. Because I think it would have been an all-time classic rather than just
cult classic. Or
it would have been an all-around classic than just a cult classic.
Yeah. Rather than being discovered 10 years later by home viewers.
They mention nerds like me.
It's interesting that you talk about it like that because if you had said all those things, but we're like talking about Ghostbusters, like 100%. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Because that I connected with that movie because it was intelligent guys doing actiony stuff.
Yeah.
And if I had seen this when I was younger, I guarantee you I would have the same affection for it that you do.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. And the fact that it did come out at the same time as Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good companion piece for that as well.
It is.
You know, it's a good double feature. But yeah, it came around at the right time. And for me, at least.
Yeah.
And is it a perfect movie? No. But it's perfect for me.
Right.
And I will, till the day I die, love this movie so much. It's got to be in my top 10.
Yeah. It's really interesting. The fact that this movie got made at all is a testament to the power of the film.
Well, that's why I love it. There are so many of these weird movies like this, or Boxing Malone, or Murder by Death, or these just weird little movies that came about at the perfect time, the only time that they could probably be made.
Yeah.
You know, and they are made, and then they're there always for us to go back to and be astounded that they were ever made. And in a business that is just bloated with remakes and sequels, and back then in the 80s, that was the beginning of the big old remake sequel.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting all new, we need new Psycho movies. We need all the stuff that we never asked for.
Yeah.
That a little gem like this that comes out, it needs to be celebrated, and it needs to be remembered.
It needs to be refound. You should watch it. I'm sure you can probably get the 2002 special edition DVD pretty cheap on Amazon or eBay or whatever. I'm sure you can.
If you haven't seen it in a while, watch it again. You'll love it. And if you've never seen it, let us know what you think.
Yeah.
You know, look, again, I totally understand the nostalgia sheen that's on this for me.
Of course.
But I also think there's a really good movie in there.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's really, really well done.
We'll be back next week. We're going to be covering Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins.
Oh, we didn't mention this at the beginning. This is our Adventure Month.
Yes, that's right. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We didn't say either. It's our Adventure Month. We're going adventuring.
We're starting the new year with movies with adventure in the title. So we have, of course, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, Across the Eighth Dimension. And then we have Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. Then we have The Adventures in Babysitting. And then we have...
And then we're doing...
The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen. So sorry for all of you that were hoping that we would do The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, but hickory dickory duck. F that.
No. I gave that a big veto.
Got to do the line, though.
My hair. But anyway, don't forget...
Wherever you go, there you are. Is that the line?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about The Adventures of
Buckaroo Banzai. Now let's do it again.
It's The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai across
the Eighth Dimension. Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to get that down.
Sorry, that was my fault. I started just saying Adventures, then I was like, oh no, it's the...
Well, finally, it wasn't me for once.
No, it was me. Bagelman, smart enough, he formed.
Was that this?
Oh, that was you.
Sorry.
Okay.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming, Thundercats, already in progress.